Hey everyone, what's up? It's Logan Sennhauser here, Sennhauser Racing Team, repping the merch today. We're working on Sheila, the ChampCar Endurance Racing Miata that we've been building. And we've got a laundry list. I've estimated about 20 hours worth of work to get done. I actually have the ECU right here. This is a MegaSquirt PNP Pro, specifically made for our chassis. It's a plug-and-play ECU, pretty stout. However, I did some jerry rigging to it, and that's kind of when I want to kick off the video. I already did it. I just want to show you guys what I did because the information is actually not super readily available. But basically, these ECUs can data log, obviously. That's part of the reason of going with an aftermarket ECU. However, other than the stock inputs, which I'll plug into the stock ECU, you can expand it a little bit with this additional port on the back. But it only allows you to add two sensors, two analog inputs, so 0 to 5 volt sensors. And one's utilized for wideband air-fuel ratio, of course. And the other one I used for oil pressure because I'm like, you know, oil pressure is important to have. Luckily, coolant temp is already being pumped to the ECU, so we don't have to worry about coolant temp. But now we don't have a fuel gauge. Fuel gauge, the fuel level sender actually communicates directly with the OEM dash. Just via an analog signal. So there's actually no connection to this ECU for the car to pick it up, or for the data logging to pick it up. And therefore we can't display it on our digital dash. So Greg Peters, Miata Dad, Car Passion channel. If you're a Miata person and you haven't heard of him, check him out. I'm gonna link the exact video that I saw. I'm gonna link it below, but I did some jerry rigging, some classic Logan money-saving sketchiness. And here is the inside of the ECU. I just popped off the cover, slid it out, and you can see I've added a little something extra here. So there's a little wire soldered to this trace here, which there's no way I'm gonna be able to capture on camera, to a pin here. And basically, like, it utilizes some of these pins for like additional fuel injectors. So in case you wanted to run 4 extra fuel injectors for like high horsepower setup, stuff like that, they're assuming that that's more important to someone than running an additional sensor, which I don't know. Maybe if you're a drag racer or something like that and you have a huge ass turbo on this thing, I don't know. But they actually have a trace for a third analog input on the board. It's ready to go. It's just not hooked up to anything. So I cut one of the pins for the sequential injection, for the extra injectors, because obviously we don't need them. We're running stock power. I don't know what power point you need to run extra injectors, but and I just soldered a wire straight to the board to that pin. Again, stole all this from the Miata Dad. I will link the video down below, but just trying to spread the information and obviously update you guys on my build. So I haven't tested it. I got my fingers crossed I did it right. I'm actually gonna add some hot glue to the connection here so it doesn't come off. And then we're gonna get it reinstalled and cross our fingers. I'm really scared I messed something up, but time will tell. We also have a few other things I want to try and do today. I want to get the ECU in just because me and Chowder Ladder, the organic tool, have a tuning session scheduled for tomorrow. A little road tunage action. We're gonna keep it safe, keep it smart, of course. But I got my fire bottle recertified, so I have that back. We have paint, we got the cage welded, we got the body work done. Shout out to Rife's Auto Body in Westerville. Talk to Rob Meadows if you need help. He's the frickin' homie. He takes care of us every time, no questions asked, sneaks us in, gets it done, gets it back to us. Really good people up there. So I'll show you guys that in a bit, but let's go ahead and jump into everything. All right, first steps first, I'm gonna add that hot glue to the board, and I got this kind of nifty. It's a Ryobi. I'm a Ryobi guy. Mighty Car Mods guys have been Ryobi for forever. They're sponsored by them. That's the only reason I buy their products, because the Mighty Car Mods guys are like the first, you know, the OGs of the OGs. And I want to support a channel that, you know, has been giving to the automotive community for forever. And Ryobi makes some nice stuff. I've never had an issue with it. Obviously, I'm not like a full-blown mechanic, you know, whatever, I'm sure. Other people. Anyways, I'm not going to give excuses. Ryobi tools. Judge me in the comments if you want. It helps the algorithm. So anyways, I got their hot glue gun, and this is for little 7mm glue sticks, little tiny ones, not the big boys. And I just put a battery in it. I think how it works, I think it just heats it up while it's sitting in the base station here. Because when I disconnect it, this light should turn off. Yeah. So I think it just heats up while it's sitting here. and then you can take it, you know, and it's super tiny, portable, and use it however you want. Super nifty little design. So anyways, we're gonna add the hot glue, see how it goes, and then we'll keep moving on. There we go. And now we're insulated. Logan Janky fix, done. Here's another kind of nifty thing. I don't know if I showed it in the last video, but I found 3D print files for mounts that allow you to mount this MegaSquirt, the Plug and Play 3. I don't know if it works for the 2 or not. Or sorry, Plug and Play Pro. I don't know if it works for the base model or whatever. But they pretty much slip onto the stock, you know, body of it, and they adapt it to work with the stock mounting location for the NBs. So the mounting location for the NB sucks, and I don't want to build a new harness or, you know, try and do too much with the wiring, at least not with a month to go till the race. So this will allow us to put it in the stock position. Maybe over the winter I'll finally tear out the dash and do this somewhat more properly. But anyway, so I'm just gonna throw some zip ties through these holes, and we're gonna get it reinstalled, and then we gotta work on wiring in that fuel sender and seeing if that's gonna give me problems. Because basically you need to add a resistor to the circuit, and then depending on the resistor you have, you then have to give the values to the ECU. So it means I need to take the float out and manually move the float from the fuel tank. So it's gonna be a whole process. So I'll keep you guys updated along the way, but I mean, first step is getting this bad boy back in there and then pinning in the new connection that we need to have into the options port on the back here. It's now pouring down rain, but it's kind of nice, it's kind of peaceful. I specifically didn't bring my speaker tonight because I wanted to, you know, relax a little bit. I feel like I've been on edge a lot, so I'm like chillaxing, and the rain's like really helping to get me dialed in here. So I found a wiring diagram for a 99 Miata that says there's a brown wire with black stripe that is the fuel level sender, that comes from the fuel level sender to the dashboard here. And I have found said wire. It's on this coupler right here. So I'm gonna use one of these janky things, Mr. Doll, don't get too mad at me, to see if I can splice into it. That'll be my permanent solution for now. If it ends up like being kind of janky and disconnecting, you know, we'll get back into it. Hopefully the rain's not too loud, sorry about that. But yeah, so basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go from the 5-volt reference from the MegaSquirt. We're gonna go up, we're gonna go 5-volt reference from the MegaSquirt through a pull-up resistor, and then that'll actually go directly back into the analog input on the ECU. And then we'll, right after that pull-up resistor, we'll actually connect that to the brown and black wire that goes to the, oh my gosh, that goes to the fuel level sender. And then basically that circuit will work as a voltage divider. I might be speaking out of my ass here. I only took one class on electrical engineering, so holy crap. Wow, didn't think this would be happening tonight. But anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll revisit it afterwards. If it works, if it doesn't, we'll chat in a bit. All right, gents, clearly a lot a bit later. Actually, I don't know if the sun was up last time I recorded something. So stuff started going awry. As it does, I still have only just barely completed getting the fuel level stuff done. But let me show you what I did. So, well, first of all, let me show you what I did wrong. I guess I'll tell you. With this circuitry diagram, the one I found online, they recommended 1 kilo ohm of resistance on your 5-volt circuit. And I was using 1 ohm, which is a drastic difference. So basically the resistor was getting really hot and the car was just like bugging out because basically we were basically shorting the 5-volt circuit. We were drawing way too much current. So everything was getting really hot. Luckily nothing happened, the ECU seems fine, but I troubleshot that for a while because I had no clue that I was that much of an idiot, but you know. So we now have a 1 kilo ohm resistor in there, and it's working so good. This is so sick, and we'll be able to dial it in. Like I can go in and edit the parameters and dial it in further so that we can get a little bit more of an accurate fuel measurement. Because you know, who knows if the sender moves fluidly or whatever, we can actually input our own custom calculation into it. But you can see right now, fuel level is reading 100 and full. And if I come back, well, we'll go around the car. Okay, so clearly I took the fueling system out just so I could really make sure I get this dialed. So when I'm talking fuel sender, I'm talking about this guy. This is the guy that floats in your tank and says what your fuel levels are. So right now this would be full. And then when the tank's empty, it would be down there by the fuel pickup, right? So it moves, this is the range of motion. And so basically all this is a variable resistor. It's a potentiometer, I believe. And so basically it's changing the voltage on that circuit that we built from, in this case, it's not 0 to 5 volts. It's like 3.5 to I don't know. I kind of bypassed all those calculations and just plugged it in by trial and error. So anywho, you could probably do it a little more accurate than I did, but basically I was like, all right, what's our value at full? What's our value at empty? And then I made the calculation between that. So you'll see if I show you the dash here, so we're reading 100 full. And then as I move this, how freaking cool is that? And then I have warnings set at 20% fuel capacity all the way down to 0. But yeah, there you can see it going through the range. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of a more accurate fuel measurement. Obviously we can only read, and here if I kind of bounce it, you can watch it bounce. So I can only read what that sender can see. So if when that sender is all the way down at the bottom of the tank, if there's still like a gallon of fuel left, obviously, you know, I can't adjust for that. And vice versa when it's full. But I mean, this is super cool. And then the other thing I can do is like with the stock dash, our fuel slosh would our fuel would never read correctly. Like anytime we would have a code 35, our fuel levels would start to go up. So this will allow me to tune in that debounce. I don't know if that would be considered debounce, but basically that value that would keep our fuel levels from sloshing around. Or I can allow it to slosh around so that we can only check it on the straights, and then that way we have a more accurate reading of our fuel level or something like that. So very jazzed that I finally got this worked out. I'm kind of salty. It took me all that troubleshooting to figure out I used the wrong resistor. But I'm going to start to get everything buttoned up here. And then I think the thing I'm going to end the night on is getting that ECU installed properly. And then I might take it out for a quick rip. Just because I can. All right, gents, I'm going to show you what it looks like running. I got the ECU installed back up under there. I'm not going to be able to show it to you, but I swear it looks good with the 3D printed mounts. Our gauges are looking good. I'm going to flash those to you guys really quick. And then I've got one more thing I want to explain what I'm going to do when the car's off. So here's the gauges. Oh God. Check that out. Rev strip, coolant temp, oil pressure, battery voltage, and fuel level, all working in tandem. I mean, come on, it doesn't get better than that. Doesn't get better than that. So the other explanation I wanted to give you guys, and I'm not sure if this is just PNP Pros or what the story is with that, but on the base map with my Miata, the MAF was still enabled. MAF, mass airflow meter, mass airflow sensor. I don't know. The MAF was still on, so it actually uses that third analog input for the MAF. However, the MegaSquirt has a mass manifold air pressure sensor built into it, and you plumb that in when you install it, which means your tuning uses speed density rather than mass airflow. So the MAF is no longer being used. I don't know why it was enabled, but basically when I enabled that analog 3 input, it bugged out because it was still using that. I guess that's why they don't wire up that analog input, is because they're still using it for MAF input, but I don't know why they would keep that enabled. There's no reason to. I don't know what other data you would get from the MAF that would be helpful. And honestly, it creates a little bit of an air intake restriction. So I don't know, but I disabled that, and then obviously had that wiring fiasco, and everything's working fine. So I'm going to check off the list, getting the ECU installed in its final home, as well as fuel level sender getting finally plumbed in. So with that being said, it is 12 a.m. on a Tuesday, so I need to wrap things up. I actually haven't eaten dinner, so I need to get some dinner and get home, and then another video. Hopefully the next one will be tuning with no major issues, dude. I hope it goes well, I really do. But we'll see. Right now the tune's running really rich, but you know, obviously we'll go from there. So feel free to leave any comments below. You know, I'm more than happy to answer questions, as you guys know. Hello to everyone from the stream, everyone who's been supporting us for the long run. And if you're new here, think about sticking around, give a subscription, like, share it with your friends if you think it'd be helpful. You know, it just helps the channel grow. We're already kind of creating a nice little community here, and I want to keep it going. So hopefully I'll see you on the next one. And yeah, like I said, any questions, leave them below. And yeah, see ya.